introduce ourselves. So this is Dr. Barinda.
Hi, everybody.
Do you want to say anything, or do you want me to just say something?
Oh, you want me to, like to address?
I'm also not on camera, so we need you to do
Okay, I'm in school specialization. I've been at Sac State since 2002, originally a product of the Bay Area, having been a school counselor for 14 years, and before that was working in the child abuse field, and recently relocated from Davis over to Amador County. Yeah, that's it.
And we have Dr. Brostrand. She's, this is her first year with us, actually. So
yeah, I've been here 8 weeks. So I'm a good person as far as trying to figure out how everything works. I feel your pain because I'm trying to figure out how everything works as well. I'm still living in Martinez. I was working with the county doing mental health rehabilitation counseling, working with people coming out of substance abuse programs. And I was teaching in a master's program, and I was teaching in the addictions program at the community college, and I'm just really excited to have one job. Well, kind of, actually. I'm half of me is a career counselor educator, and luckily I have wonderful help with that because that is very new to me. The other half of me is vocational rehabilitation. So I will be trying to get up to speed on both along with you guys.
Hello, many of you have, we've already been talking for quite a while, and I'm Dr. Wyckoff, and I teach both the core and the marriage and family therapy courses. I've been here since 1997 and started off my career in '94 at Cal State Fullerton.
And as I mentioned before, I'm Dr. Lyles, and this is my 6th year here at Sac State, and I'm the coordinator for both the career counseling and the school counseling programs. And so we're going to go ahead and get started today. What we're really wanting to show you is what does our program require for admission, how do you best get into the program, what is our program like, and then we also are going to be having some of our current students who are going to come speak to you also from a student perspective, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for your questions as well. So, essentially what I just said right there. Okay, so there are 2 applications. That is really important to remember that you must complete both applications in order for you to be able to be considered for admission. If you were to only complete one of them, you will automatically be unqualified. So you want to make sure that you do complete them. The first one is the university application, which is completed online, and we will talk about that. And the second one is our program supplemental application. There's one supplemental application for school counseling, career counseling, and marriage and family therapy. There's a different supplemental application for vocational rehabilitation. So you want to make sure when you go on the College of Education website that you're clicking on the program that you want to apply for, and that supplemental application you will see. On the application itself, it also lists what programs you're applying for, so you'll be able to double check that. That must be completed in hard copy, so that one is not online. Both applications for career, MFT, and school counseling are due January 12th. I'm going to mention that date a lot, so if you hear it a lot, it's because I don't want you to forget it. And then vocational rehabilitation applications, both of those are due on March 1st. So March 1st is only for vocational rehabilitation. The rest of those who are applying will need to apply by January 12th. All supporting documentation must be submitted by the deadline. Absolutely no exceptions. That means that it is your responsibility to ensure that you submit a completed packet, including all materials. So the application, your resume, your letters of recommendation, your transcript, all of that has to be all in one packet, or they will not accept your application in Eureka 401, which is where you will submit that application. So let's first talk about the university application process. So as I was saying, this one is online, so you can see that the Office of Graduate Studies actually has a link to that. It's through CSU Mentor. So if you earned your degree previously from CSU Mentor, you're familiar with that application. If you're not, it's not that difficult. You'll see that there are steps that will help you guide through that process. And that link is listed here. It's csus.edu and then /grad studies, and that's where you will go to be able to get to the CSU mentor. They have actually already started accepting applications. That was October 1st when they opened. So you can, at this time, go ahead and actually begin your application if you haven't already done so. OGS only accepts applications online from CSU Mentor. So here's the specific CSU Mentor web link, but you can get that web link from the one up here. And then, again, just to remind you, this university application is due January 12th for career, school, and MFT, and it is due March 1st for vocational rehabilitation. Something to note is that this application does have a fee associated with it. It's $55. And so this is the one that you will actually be paying for as you apply for the university. Even if you're a current Sac State student, you have to reapply because now you're applying as a graduate student. So the second application process involves our actual specific program. So the program supplemental application is available on the College of Education website. That's csus.edu/COE, and then you can get to all the other links. Also, on the Office of Graduate Studies website, you will be able to see that there's a link there to our supplemental application as well. There's 2 places where you can find it. This is the application, again, that you need to actually print out and submit in hard copy. Please type your application. First, it shows professionalism. Second, it ensures that we will be able to actually read what you've written. So please actually provide us with a typed application, okay? But you will need to submit that in hard copy. It can be either submitted in person or through mail, but note that it has to be received by the deadline. So the postmark is not what we're looking at. We're actually looking at in our hands by January 12th or by March 1st, depending on which program you are looking at. And Eureka Hall is located in the main part of campus. You all made it to Folsom Hall. That was actually your first test to see if you're ready for our program. And so there's actually the main campus, if you're not familiar with Sac State, which has all the other buildings, and that's Eureka Hall. And it's on the 4th floor, room 401, and that is our Academic and Services Programs office. And so you'll submit your actual application there. It's nice to be able to, yes, Catherine?
I want to mention one thing. March 1st is a Sunday, just so they know. So the applications will be accepted Monday, the 2nd.
Thank you.
Just so you don't come to campus on a Sunday expecting people to be here.
And I apologize too. I actually forgot to introduce Kathy Goodwin, who is part of our Aero office, and it's spelled A-E-R with 3 O. And so you'll see that on the College of Education website. And she does a lot of our academic recruiting and advising. She is one that some of you have already met because she helps with GPA calculations and things. She is actually a real significant part of the application process that you wouldn't know of, but she's really part of it, and she's here with us tonight as well. So thank you, Kathy, for actually asking a question.
Sure.
Or not asking a question, making a really important comment. And so, yeah, so it appears that March 1st is a Sunday, which means that you can submit things on Monday, March 2nd. But again, that's only if you're from what program? Good job, vocational rehabilitation. Something to note, we're looking for active, participatory kinds of students, and those of you who are engaging, already making a good impression. Nice. Okay, so again, career MFT and school applications are due January 12th, vocational rehabilitation due March 1st, but will be accepted March 2nd. No late applications will be accepted, none. So just make sure that you're aware of that.
Quick question.
Yes.
On the CSU Mentor website, the application allowed for you to submit your statement of purpose?
Excellent, I'm glad you brought that up. So the CSU Mentor does have your statement of purpose. It also will mention if you're submitting one through the program, you don't have to submit that again. So you could even just say, you can type in the box that you've already submitted, or just leave that part blank, that would be fine. Or submit the same one, that is also fine. The one that we want needs to actually be in hard copy with the supplemental application. Thank you, that was a really good question. So again, you're going to be writing a personal statement for our application, which I'll go over in a moment. That should be with our actual program application, not the CSU Mentor, even though CSU Mentor will ask for one. Yes?
On the CSU Mentor website, it asks for like 3, is it professors, or could it be like?
It can be whoever your references are.
Okay.
So whoever you've asked to write letters of recommendation, just list those 3 people.
Okay.
They do not have to be professors. Excellent. So we'll actually get to some of that too, and so if I don't answer more questions, please make sure you continue to ask them. So the requirements for all of our programs, no matter what specialization you are applying to, and I do really want to kind of cover exactly how our program is structured. We are a program that offers a Master of Science in Counseling with a specialization in either career counseling, school counseling, marriage and family therapy, or vocational rehabilitation. So it's really important that you recognize that you're actually all applying for that MS in counseling, and then it's your specialization that's going to determine what field or avenue you're going to be taking. And we will talk a little bit more about that, but all 4 specializations have these requirements. So a minimum overall GPA of 2.5, and then in your last 60 semester or 90 quarter units, a GPA of a 3.0. If you did not meet a 3.0 in those last 60 or last 90, you can actually continue to take classes to add to that. It won't change your overall GPA, which needs to be a 2.5, but it will change those last 60 or 90 units. And those classes can be taken at a community college, they can be taken online, as long as they're actually on a transcript that shows us with units. And it needs to be classes that you will actually earn a grade for. So not a credit, no credit, because those won't actually calculate into the GPA. As far as what classes they are, that is up to you, what you choose to do with that. But that is one way to help raise that last GPA if you need to do that. Please note that you must meet both GPA requirements in order to be considered. The other requirement, a sealed official transcript required to verify those last 60 or 90 units. Yes, you are going to be expected to submit an official transcript for CSU Mentor as well as with us. If you're a current Sac State student, how many of you are currently at Sac State? Great, there's a good number of you, excellent. If you're a current Sac State student, you do not have to submit a transcript to the Office of Graduate Studies, but you still need to submit a transcript to our program. If you are not a current, Sac State student, then you need to be able to submit an actual official transcript to both the Office of Graduate Studies as well as with your program application. Again, an official transcript is one of those that is actually sealed, has not been opened by you. It might say on the actual transcript that it was sent to student, but it's sealed, and that's how we accept that. Something to note with the transcript is if you've taken classes from many different colleges, if it's not on the transcript you have, then you need to submit transcripts from all of those colleges. Sac State does put on the community college work that you've done, but other universities sometimes don't. UC Davis, for example, will not put anything else on their transcript. So it's important that you make sure you submit all transcripts if it's not already on the one that you plan to submit. The transcript needs to be sent to OGS, and then this one should not be sent to us. It should be with you in your packet you submit to us. So actually include the envelope sealed with the transcript in your packet. Don't ask them to send the school to send it to us. We receive close to 200 applications, sometimes more than that. And so if we're having transcripts sent to us, it's much better if you have it all in your packet. Okay, the other thing we require is a personal statement. The personal statement is 2 pages, typed, double-spaced, size 12 font, dated and signed. This is on the application, so I want you to remember that you'll see it again with all the instructions on the application. But the personal statement, this is your opportunity to show us why you're unique and special. And you all are unique and special people. You just have to let us know what it is about you that makes you shine. And this is also a really good opportunity for you to tell us, why did I choose vocational rehabilitation? Or why do you want to be a school counselor? So go and use that opportunity to let us know what's led you to apply to our program and why this specific program, and also what makes you incredible. And remember, you all are, you just have to make sure you let us know that. The response to 2 essay questions. So the supplemental application also has 2 questions, and those each are 1 page, typed, double-spaced, again, signed and dated at the bottom. And those essay questions are on the application. You'll read what the question is, and then simply write your response. And then finally, you'll include 3 sealed professional letters of recommendation. So it's professional, that's not to be mistaken for professor, okay? Professional, which means it can be a professor. It can also be someone who knows you in a work kind of capacity. What you want is to submit letters of application from people who know you very well, who can actually tell us how you're going to become a good counselor. That you have certain skills that make you innately someone who it makes sense that you're applying to become a marriage and family therapist. So what we're looking for are people who know you, but not family and friends. So they should be professional in some aspect. And we do accept professor letters, but we also will accept employers who've written letters for you. If you worked as a teacher aide for a teacher, that teacher could write you a letter of rec. If you volunteered for a program, whoever runs that program could write you a letter of rec. So there's lots of avenues to get those letters. But it's the most important part is that you ask someone that can really actually, in that letter, talk about you as someone different. And I'm just going to tell you a quick little story. 2 years ago, I was reviewing applications, and I'm reading through the letter of rec, and it sounds pretty good, and then I realized I'm reading a letter of recommendation for a female candidate, and it keeps saying he every now and then. And then sometimes it will say she, and then it goes back to he. And it was very clear that this person was writing the letter from a template that they used with other people. They might have known this person, they may not have, they may have meant what they were saying, but it definitely made it look to me like, this person doesn't really know you. This is just a letter that they write for anybody. The fact that they couldn't even figure out that, oh, I gotta remember to change all my he's to she's, right? So it's really important that you're checking through those letters. It's good if they've spelled your name right, things like that. It shows that you actually interact with this person. Okay? Yes, Dr. Baroja.
So, looking at, you're wanting to consider selecting us, and then it's also us selecting you. And when you look at the personal statement, it's the essence of what brings you here. All of us could be somewhere else tonight, but what is it about you as we go through 200 and are only going to be able to select between 80 to 90? And so you don't want to give us an excuse to put you in the pile over here. And with that, how do we come to know that you're going to be of added value? I hear so often of students who come into our program, and they say they're coming into the field because they've had bad counselors in the past, and they want to make a difference. So how do we know that you're coming with good heart? It's like having a bad professor, right? You know, it's like you don't really learn anything from somebody who they don't have their heart into it. And so how do we differentiate you from somebody else who maybe they've got a 4.0 GPA and they got it all here, but their heart and soul is really not going to make a difference in this field. And that's not what we're trying to put out of our program. And unfortunately, we can't always tell that as we're on this side trying to read your transcripts and sometimes even the letters. That how do we figure that out in terms of your social and your emotional and yes, even your spiritual intelligence. Those aren't things that we can necessarily measure from a GPA. And unfortunately, when we get people that go into the field, and they may have a lot here, but it's not here, and they go into workplaces and they can't get along with people, and they're meeting with clients and really aren't good at what they do, it creates a cycle in our profession. And so my hope is that you take seriously not just that what you're putting in terms of the content, but if I have to read a personal statement, and now recognize I teach in a doctoral program as well, and so I work with doctoral students, and that's, in some ways it makes me biased because there's a certain standard that I would expect that you know the difference between T-H-E-R-E and T-H-E-I-R. That when you write my name, you're not going to address it by my first name, and it's Dr. Bruna with one R. And just certain sort of things that you learn in terms of the conduct of a graduate student, that the information that you see here, that you're not having to re-verify, which is why we're so fortunate that Kathy's here today and taping this, because you can see how many there are of you here, how few of us are here. And, you know, I think about the call I got from Idaho the other day, and, you know, those who aren't able to make it for a night like this, but yet we will say, go to the link and you can see the recording and you'll get all this information. So it's that level of self-sufficiency that we expect from graduate students. And how do we come to know that you're one of those people that I don't have to repeat over and over again, but I can take the level of discussion in our classes when we talk about self-injury, when we talk about school shootings, when we talk about suicide, when we talk about historical trauma. That you guys are on it, okay? And then we have all that other BS left behind because the professors who are focused on moving the agenda forward, that I've got people that are like spirit in the class. Okay? And the only way we can know that is by the quality of what we get, okay?
I really just want to say something just in addition to that, which is you are going into a profession where how you present yourself matters instantly, because that client is in the waiting room. They need to know that they're going to be in a safe, comfortable environment to be able to share their personal story with you. And so even as simple as what you put on paper is going to be important. So I think it is really mindful that you really show that you've had some effort in this, that maybe you reread your personal statement and things like that. Okay? And we are looking for graduate level kinds of work. Graduate level is different than undergraduate in that it depends a lot on your own experiences. That's what makes a graduate program so exciting, is that you all bring a wealth of experience from your lives, from experience, jobs you've had, other kinds of things. And that's what I love about the classroom, is that someone can then add something, bless you, to what I've said, and then someone adds to what they've said, and we engage in this real scholarly discussion, which isn't something that you always get in an undergraduate class. And so, again, you know, this seems so simple, but what you put on here gives you the opportunity to be part of that. And that's really an exciting thing.
Okay, Dr. Flowers, I have to add to that as well.
Excellent.
I just met with an employer, and actually he takes our interns as well, and he said, you guys aren't teaching people what they need to know. They need to know Excel, they need to know Word, they need to know PowerPoint. So I want to give a suggestion that in addition to everything they've said, your personal statement is tough. It's tough to write. You're trying to tell me why I want you in my program and what a great addition you're going to be to our program and how we're going to be able to have those discussions, and you're going to contribute intelligently to that discussion. But also, back to the formatting, if you can't get this right, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about your papers? You know, if you only have 2 pages here, if you can't get the formatting, if it's not in 12-size font, if it's not double-spaced, you are going to struggle in the program. And I don't want you to have to do that. I want you guys to tell me, hey, yeah, I got it all together here in this personal statement. And you also want to let me know. You don't want me to have to be like, wait a minute, we even talked about how to spell there. You don't want me to be focused on that. You want me to be focused on how amazing you are and what a wonderful contribution you're going to be to whichever program you choose to be in.
Very true. Very, very, very true. Part of this is showing us that you do know how to follow like assignment instructions, right? But that's a good start. Okay. Not that we're looking for just complacent, compliant people, of course. Okay. So, oh yes.
Just real quick on the letter of recommendation since sealed, how should those be sealed? Just
Excellent, good question. And so, I was actually going to review that, so that's great. No, I appreciate it. It's a good question. So we'll get to that right now. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, submit your CSU mentor application online. And then this is your actual packet that you're going to submit either by mail or in person. So you need to, again, remember to include all official transcripts from the schools you've attended unless they're already on one transcript. Okay? And then you just submit the one. A personal statement.
Oh, Dr. Wells. So about the sealed, you are not sealing your transcript. You're not opening up and going, oh yeah, this looks good, and putting it back into your envelope and then sealing it. The university sends it to you sealed. So if you want to look at it, order 2. And actually, you have to submit 2
sealed transcript. So if you want to look at it, you have to order 3. Make sure you're giving it to us sealed. Sometimes they'll even put a stamp or this or that. So you're not sealing it, they seal it.
Very
Sorry.
clarification. Yes. So I should say a school sealed official transcript. Okay. Personal statement does not have to be sealed. Don't worry, you can just put that on a piece of paper. Resume, and the resume is really important too. You're going to put all the information on the application, but the resume is critical because it really, again, highlights your experiences that you've had. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that really matters with our program. And then the response to the 2 essay questions, the actual application itself, and then here's that 3 sealed letters of recommendation. Something that's really important to note is that the supplemental application has a cover sheet. You need to have that cover sheet given to each of your 3 people who are writing you letters of rec, and that cover sheet needs to be included with that letter. So if you've already received letters of recommendation, you need them to also complete that cover sheet, okay? So the letters of recommendation with the cover sheet should be in an envelope, sealed, and signed by the recommender right over where the seal is. So if you were to be looking at an, bless you, at an envelope, you have your little seal, right? They sign it like that. There you go. So that way we can tell if you're going to seal it or reseal it. And not that we're looking for that, of course, but the idea is that just a nice sealed envelope that they have signed, that you then put with the rest of your letters, the transcript, the essay, and all the application. Did that answer your question when I meant by sealed? Excellent. Yes.
Is that an actual size of what we're supposed to
Okay.
Oh, we should the information in the package in exactly that order, or is that?
No, the application actually has a checklist at the back of it. Follow that order. Yeah. I apologize if this isn't actually the exact order, but the application does tell you the order. And when you submit it, they'll make sure that you have everything as well. So the person in Eureka 401 that you submit it to, they will be there to be able to go, yep, you got this, you got this, you got this. So that checklist will help you go through that. And that was really funny. I just want to say it. I appreciate that.
One of the things that you want to be sure about is that though it's an MS in counseling that you're applying to, that when you apply to the specific program, you want to be sure that you're selecting the one that you're going to follow for 3 years. Because what happens is that we have to let people in according to that program area, both rehab, career, MFT, school. And say, you get in and which one are you interested in? School, and which one? And Michaela decides, you know what? I was in that 155 class, the intro to counseling, and both rehab sounds really good. I want to switch. And so Michaela, great, you're going to have to apply to come back in to both rehab. Okay, so there's no swapping out, because what happened was Michaela took somebody else who we denied to be in the chair that she's in. And so what you have to literally do is to reapply, to switch within the program area. So be sure that, as you go through the application and you're looking at career pathways, that you're selecting the program area. And being a school counselor, that's, talking about pre-K to 12 with a PPS credential. Career, that's something very much aligned. They usually end up in college, university settings, but they don't have a PPS credential. So you don't want to be surprised, like, oh my God, I thought I was going to be placed in a school, I'm in a career track. You're going to end up in a different pathway. Okay, so I just wanted you to be clear about that, because people sometimes get shocked when they're second, third week in the semester and they realize that, oh, I really have an affinity for this other area. Be very clear about what you're coming into, otherwise you're going to lose a year.
Great, thank you. We will actually talk a little bit more about that. Was that a question for that?
No, a question in regards to the letter of recommendation.
Yes.
The cover letter that you mentioned, is the blank template located with the online application?
With the supplemental application that you get online, yes. It's just part of that written supplemental. Great. Okay, so we're going to test again. Remember, January 12th deadline for what programs? Yeah, that's not good. That was great. Good job. So school, career, MFT. And March 1st deadline, kind of March 2nd deadline. And liking this participatory, that's good. Okay, so remember those deadlines because once again, can't highlight this enough, no exceptions. And I mentioned, Dr. Bruno mentioned 200 applicants, we accept less than half of those. How do you set yourself apart? By making sure you're not trying to be an exception right away, but exceptional. Just kidding. Okay.
And please get on your, if you are going to ask the professor to write a letter, you got to get on them early. They're notorious, not us, but they're notorious for not getting things in. And particularly, you know, I think the experience has been with some of the larger universities that people are coming from. You know, they're traveling, they're doing research, you know, they're doing all kinds of other stuff. And that letter that comes in late, it could be the whole deciding factor when it ends up in the pile that you don't want to end up in. So make sure that they know, and you may have to hound them over and over again. You know, and it's just something that's unfortunate, but on our end, we're not going to hold up the application process and screening everybody because we have to be very accountable in the way that we process, and it has to be equitable.
I'd like to add to that. In addition to what Dr. Barunda just conveyed, in addition, understand that we are now towards the end of October. We are also in week 7 of the university. We have 7 weeks left. Your professors also have 7 weeks left. After Thanksgiving, finals is just around the corner. So start working kind of backwards about when the due date is, and when is the due date? For MFT, okay, school and career, and voc rehab is? Make sure that you start working backwards because you will not be surprised the only student asking for a letter of recommendation. So you want to make sure that you've asked in a timely way that they can get it for you, especially before things really start coming down to deadlines and the end of the semester. Okay?
Excellent. So that was a great segue into our timeline. So we're going to first talk about career, MFT, and school, that timeline. So the pre-screening, as you know, remember, it's due January 12th. So mid to late January. We're actually not back yet. We're going to be on winter break at that time. And so in the middle of that month, people like Kathy from Arrow, as well as some individuals from Academic Program and Services Office, which is Eureka 401, where you're submitting things. I just realized I have Arrow completely spelled wrong there. That's two. Okay, so that is not the correct spelling of Arrow. But anyway, they're going to be going through and looking to make sure you've satisfied the minimum GPA. They're going to ensure that the application is complete, and they're going to do that real pre-screening. Anyone who doesn't have a complete application at that point is then moved into that pile you don't want to be in. Okay? Everyone else gets moved forward to the actual screening, which happens late January, early February. So we return from break, the semester begins, we get all the applications that made it through the pre-screening, and we go through and we screen reading the personal statement, the answers to the 2 questions, we look at the transcript, letters of recommendation, etc. And at that point, if you've satisfied the criteria that we're looking for, we're then going to invite you for an interview in mid-February. And so in mid-February, you'll expect to be part of a group interview. That will consist of 5 to 6 of you, and then generally 2 of us, who are going to be asking you a series of questions. Everyone in the group has a chance to respond. And something I just want to mention is we're talking about an interpersonal field that you're going into, right? So this is a great opportunity for us to see that in a group interview, you can have interpersonal qualities, right? But you're also going to, again, show us why you yourself are also exceptional. And then at that point, we are looking for, not only did you meet the criteria, but are you a good fit for our program? And hopefully at that time, you're also looking at us, are we a good fit for you? You're committing to a 3-year program minimum. So it's important that when you do that you're saying, yep, it's a program I want to be part of for 3 years. And then we also do have a portion of that interview that is a writing sample, one more writing sample that we'll be doing. And then from there, we make our decisions. And then you hear from OGS, which is nope, okay. Sorry. Then you'll hear from OGS, which we actually there's a slide later that talks about that. OGS, Office of Grad Studies, and they then will actually submit to you whether you've been accepted or denied for the program, okay? And we'll talk more about that when I get to that. That's the timeline, essentially, that you're looking for if you apply to those 3 specializations. If you're applying, yes?
How many looking like for the interview of, let's say, 200, let's say all 30
About 120 or so, 120, 150.
Divided by 3, and now 4.
Yeah, I was thinking, last year, for school counseling last year, we had 60 applicants. So of the 260 of them were for school counseling. And we ended up interviewing over 50. Not, I think like 51, I think, that we invited. So most people did make it to that interview. MFT, I don't know if you remember your numbers.
I seem to recall 68, and then it came down to about 50, and then we ended up accepting about 38, and then 4 declined.
There you go. And career, they had 30 applicants and 26 were invited for interviews. Vocational rehabilitation, I don't believe they actually conducted interviews last time, so that would be a new statistic.
Yeah, something that I would recommend, and having been the school counselor, I went to be a high school counselor for 7 of the years I was working with students, is not to put all your eggs in one basket. And if being a counselor is what you want to do, similar to what I would tell the graduating high school senior, to have your sort of top tier, second, and then third, like fall back that if I couldn't get into these other institutions, that I've got a fallback to go to. And so there's nothing wrong with you if you don't get into your first hit, okay? It just didn't work out for whatever reason. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be a great counselor. I think one of the highlights of my career was having a student that got turned away from our program, was actually discussed by some of our students in our intro class as they interviewed her, and she went on to USF and has a thriving private practice in the Bay Area right now. So there's a lot of other institutions that are out there. As long as you're putting all this, the work together to get your letters of rec and so forth, open up the doors for yourself. And that's what you would even tell a client. Is where one door closes, another one opens. So make the effort to look at what other institutions aside from ours as well.
And the timeline for voc rehab. So again, that is, your application for that is due March 1st or March 2nd because it's Monday. So you will have the pre-screening that happens in early March. And then the actual screening, and again, that's when the vocational rehabilitation faculty are looking at your applications at that point. That's going to happen in mid-late March. And then the interview will happen in early April for you. Okay? So this is the notification that I was talking about. So you will then, after your interview, you will receive a letter from the Office of Grad Studies, that's what OGS means, stating whether you were accepted or denied admission to the program. Please note that this can take several weeks. Everyone on the university who's accepting students into programs are submitting things to the Office of Graduate Studies, so they're going through many, many applications. The other thing about it is that they tend to admit students on a rolling basis. So your friend next to you might hear before you do. Don't panic. It just means that they randomly decide to let you know first. And I'm sure they have a system to it, we just don't know it. And so you might hear some people have heard and you haven't heard yet. You'll hear either way. So at some point you will hear, it's just they do it on a rolling basis. And then that's really important to make sure you get your letter, that you notify the Office of Graduate Studies of any contact information that has changed for you if you move during that time frame. And then something to note is that after you've been admitted, then you're going to be expected to attend a mandatory advising night for all new students that happens in August, right before the semester starts. Students will follow our cohort 5 sequence. So you are actually applying to become part of our cohort 5. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. This sequence will be emailed to you by the coordinator, so for school and career, I'll email that to you. For MFT, our coordinator is actually on leave right now, which is why she's not here. She will connect with you. And so the students, they are accepted, what you will do then is follow that sequence for registration. And registration for new students generally happens in June, so you'll look at the classes. If there's anything on there that you took already, so for example, maybe you took EDC 155 or 156 or 157 as part of our co-recs, then you need to contact that coordinator to help you plan your sequence. Registration, like I said, happens in June. Then you enjoy your summer. And then in August, we answer the rest of your questions, okay? So that's what happens when you're admitted. Now, we're going to take some time to go over each of the specializations, and we're going to also have our students speak with you momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and put them up because I think they're fun to look at. There you go. Our Student Counseling Society, we have some representatives who are going to be speaking with you soon. Before that, we're going to go ahead and talk about specialization. So we'll start with career counseling. This will go alphabetical. So career counseling is a wonderful program, and it does tend to be the smaller of our programs. Well, one of the smaller ones, actually. And so,
I should take some responsibility.
yeah, so Dr. Brostrand and I are both representing career. And so the career counseling, yeah, 1.5. So, and then there's another professor who actually might be part of your interviews that you're not seeing here. He's on what's called an early retirement program, so that he's here in the spring semester but not in the fall. So you'll see another career.
He's a half
career
as well.
person. He's also a half, so really we have a 2 when we put the halves together. Okay, so the career specialization, this is for students who are really interested in helping people with their journeys in life in terms of schooling and career. So someone who is saying, you know what, I had an academic advisor during my undergraduate program who really got me on the right path and said, yeah, you can be in grad school, you would be great for counseling, and that meant something to you and you thought, I want to help people do that. Or you're one of those people who said, you know what, I didn't even know college was a possibility for me, and then someone came from a college and spoke to our high school about first-generation students, and that made such an impact on me, and I want to go help first-generation students get into college. So that's someone who either works at a community college or a university and does a lot of academic advising. They are those who are helping people. They do outreach to high school students. They're also helping people in the university system navigate kind of what program they're a good fit for, what kind of careers they might want to do. And then in addition to that, they are someone who can also have, say, a private practice outside in the community, and they can do career counseling. And we do have several people who do that. So they actually meet with adults and talk about that. So career counseling is really a population of individuals who wants to work with that freshmen in college, maybe seniors in high school, but freshmen in college onward up. So you're not really interested in working with children, but you're working with the older population of adults and trying to get them in their careers and their college things, applications, experiences they can have, that kind of thing. So it's not just college either, whatever your post-secondary option might be. The other piece about career counseling to note is, yes, career counseling does start in kindergarten, but that would not be the specialization you would choose if you wanted to work in kindergarten. Career counseling, you're saying you want to work with adults, okay? So it's really important to know that, because I know some people are like, well, I kind of like that academic piece of school. We'll talk about what makes a school counselor in a moment. And something to note also that I forgot to mention earlier, all of our specializations are eligible for what is called the Licensed Professional Clinical Counselor, LPCC. California was the 50th state to pass this, so even though we're usually progressive, we did end up last on this one. But we have this, so it's new, so you may not have heard about it. It really became more prevalent in 2011, so it's very new. Now, an LPCC, what that does is licenses you as a counselor. All of our programs prepare you for that licensure. So when you graduate, you can then apply to what is called the Board of Behavioral Sciences to become an LPCC. You earn hours of experience and you take tests, and then, yay, you can become an LPCC. And with that, you can work in hospitals, you can work in social work settings, you can work in agencies, nonprofit organizations, and you can have a private practice. So all of you, no matter what specialization you choose, could do that. And so a career counselor might be someone, like I said, who works in a college setting by day and private practice by night, right? You decide what you want to do with that. But again, it's really important that you recognize it's adults that we're looking for with career kind of counseling. Do you want to add anything to that?
Sometimes you'll find career counselors, we have a lot more programs now like workforce investment board. So we often have, most cities have a career center. Sometimes it's called the One Stop, sometimes it's called the Career One Stop, or it might be called Sacramento Works. People may also go to work there. So we're working with individuals, not necessarily in the academic setting or even about academics, but we're working vocationally. And yes, if you look up in the dictionary, vocational rehabilitation, you think, isn't this career rehabilitation? So the focus of the career is working with adults on career issues, and that may be academic, it may be career, and of course, as counselors, family, other social issues, everything is going to be taken into consideration.
Excellent, thank you. Yes?
For the postgraduate studies, hours towards your licensure up on the MFT side, can that work dual to get a LPCC?
Yes, it can. And so, you're asking good questions. Okay, so, that would be opposite.
That will happen.
That was really funny. Yeah, I'm not going to get over that one. I'm going to tell people about that one. I'm glad it's being videotaped. Okay, so what I think is important to note is that, yes, those of you who apply for the marriage and family therapy, you can do dual licensure. Not dual specialization, but dual licensure, which means that when you graduate, you would be able to be eligible for both marriage and family therapy license and licensed professional clinical counselor. And of course, I'll let Dr. Wyckoff talk more about the MFT side. But as far as the LPCC side, this is why I say, why would you want to do that? Why would you want 2 licenses? Here's why. Because as a marriage and family therapist, say I'm a lay person, and I'm going around and I'm going, I'm struggling with some personal problems. I'm going to see a counselor, and I say, oh, a marriage and family therapist. Well, it's not about marriage, it's not about family, it's just my own personal problems. So then I go, oh, licensed counselor. That sounds like someone who sees individuals. Even though a marriage and family therapist can see individuals, people might not recognize that. So by having that extra LPCC, you look a little more marketable. The other piece of that is the LPCC is more transferable among states than the MFT is. And so if you ever decided to move out of our beautiful state of California, then you would be able to be much more eligible to become an LPCC in another state than an MFT. So that's why you'd want to do it. And the 3,000 hours that you earn either way get double count for you. Yes, excellent question. So I actually thought we were going to go in alphabetical order, but I thought since Dr. Bertrand is here and already kind of went into vocational, that we go and talk about vocational rehabilitation. Okay.
Oh, alphabetical order by program. I'm like, I start with a B.
Oh, I meant by program, sorry.
So vocational rehabilitation, and literally when you look up in the dictionary, vocational and career are very similar. I think that's why I'm split down the middle, half career, half voc. Vocational rehabilitation has to do mostly with working with people with disabilities. So yes, we are helping vocationally, and our emphasis is on people, families who have been affected by disability. I'm going to be working to convert our program to a clinical rehabilitation and mental health counseling program. So if you are interested in mental health counseling, any of our programs obviously have mental health counseling. But that's going to be the official, way too long title of the program, hopefully very soon. But what we're doing is working with adults with disabilities. A lot of the people who graduate from our program go to work for the Department of Rehabilitation. We have students that work for the Veterans Administration inside of their rehabilitation and employment section. We have people who will go work in organizations, in EAP, the Employee Assistance Programs. We find a lot of different needs in corporations, in the private sector. And also as a career counselor, of course, you could do that as well. So the focus of vocational rehabilitation has to do with disability. So when you're doing your personal statements, when you do your writing sample in the interview, of course, my writing sample is probably going to have something to do with disability. So you want to have an idea of what you're talking about. And one of the things that we strive to do in our program is focus a lot on improving independence and employment and accessibility for people with disabilities. With technology these days, when I went through school, there wasn't a lot of technology to assist people with physical and other disabilities. Now we have computers that will read to you. And that's one of the things that we learn in our program is how to work with people with disabilities and help them access all of the resources that are available to help them live independently and maximize their independence. And it's not like the only people we work with are, they can't go to college and they have a disability. No, not at all. We're working with people who are becoming PhDs, who are CEOs of corporations. We're helping you figure out what can you do and how can you get there and how can we minimize the disability-related distractions that might be along the way.
Great, thank you. Dr. Wyckoff, would you like to
Or shall we let our students' society go?
Well, we could, I actually want them to be part of the question process.
Okay.
And so we can have marriage, family,
Okay.
and then school, and then we'll come back to the
Okay.
slide. Or they've seen it, and then they'll see the real deal. So.
Yeah, just sign a little bit go. Okay, I put some things on. Okay, so this is American Family Therapy Program. All of our faculty teach in the core. You are earning a degree in counselor education with a specialization in one of 3 areas, soon to be a collaborative core. There is myself, Dr. Wyckoff, and then there is Dr. Shannon Dixon, who is our colleague and is on sabbatical, creating new theories right now as we speak. We enjoy writing together, and we've done some publishing together. Our interest is in neuronal development and trauma and trauma-related counseling, using a dialectical behavioral model and doing paradigm shift with the brain. So let's look at what our marriage and family therapy program is. It prepares you, as Dr. Lyles said, you can actually earn 2 degrees and 2 licenses in one. The MFT specifically prepares you by providing the competencies that are required by the California State Board of Behavioral Sciences that can help you earn and become eligible for a licensed marriage family therapist. Some of what you will leave with in the program is that you'll have a heightened sense of who you are in terms of self-understanding. All of the students, based on the core, will learn effective communication skills, and then you branch out into your specialization, which I'll talk a little bit more about. You'll learn about the ethical, which are those big shades of gray, and then the legal here in the state of California, as it relates to informed consent, confidentiality, working with clients, working effectively, and this is where the difference is, as Dr. Lyles explained, working with individuals, with the LPCC, and then with the marriage and family therapy license, you can work with individuals, but you work across the lifespan as well. You may be seeing children, you may be seeing families, blended families, what we used to call reconstituted families, lots of different family types, or parent-child dyads, all of those will make sense. Or you may be doing some gerontological counseling, working with couples there as life changes. You will work in various agencies or schools within the communities as you move into your field study practice. And then very specific to MFT is that you learn how to assess, diagnose, and make treatment plans. Okay? And so that's a big part of becoming a licensed therapist, as is third-party insurance reimbursement and managed care, which you'll learn about. And then to develop treatment plans, which we'll talk about throughout the core, but then you really get the experience as you move into the specialization, because each specialization has kind of a unique style that it works from. I'll speed this up. Okay, so what you can, yeah.
Do you know the passing rate of alumni who apply for their license?
You know what, we don't have that.
I actually
at this
did.
point. Oh, do you have it now? Because I was looking last night at the stats. Okay, great.
Yeah. Our particular graduates from Sac State have an 80% pass rate of the exam, which is higher than almost every other institution in California.
Okay, thank you. I can tell you that California Consortium, which it's a very competitive process, And for our MFT students, for several years in a row, it has been our campus and our MFT students who are awarded the most stipends. And these are $18,000 stipends that help you post-graduation go into a community to work, as you also earn the 3,000 hours that they need for licensure. So that's a good thing. So where do you work? Here's where some of our alumni work that we have kept in contact with. This is also about what we're seeing in terms of mental health in the state of California. We have a student, actually we have a student who graduated from Columbia with an MBA and then decided that she was really drawn more to the helping profession. And she now directs the Pacific Asian Counseling Center. We have alumni who work with Superior Court, Family and Children as a therapist and mediator, people that work with Child Protective Services. We just had 4 of our graduates from May hired right out of their internships as counselors, so now they're earning their hours, seeing supervisors at Heritage Oaks. We have another alumnus who is doing hospice counseling for those individuals and families and those who are grieving afterwards who have died. We have people in private practice. And then we also do consulting as marriage and family therapists. These are some of the San Francisco Chinese Baptist Church, SCOE, Sacramento County Board of Education, and then the Mexican American Alcoholism Program. Okay, this is your program of studies if you're an MFT student. You come in fall 2015. Those courses that are identified in green right now are kind of going under review. It is essentially a 60-unit program. 26 units are core counseling courses. 15 units are MFT specialization courses. 3 units are done in practicum, where you will be upstairs. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then 6 units, which is 600 hours of field study when you're out in the community. We encourage you to get active as soon as possible in professional associations. At the national level, we have the American Counseling Association. There is also the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapists, which actually has its annual conference starting tomorrow. And then there's our own state association, the California Association of Marriage and Family Therapists. This is an independent professional organization. You network, you can learn more about those fellow MFTs in the program. Student membership is terrific. Okay, you can also buy insurance through them, and you always get a journal every month. Okay, in practicum, you'll actually be in Eureka Hall up on the 4th floor, and we provide counseling services through the CCDS. You are in a laboratory setting so that you will see 2 clients a week, and your peers and instructor supervisor will be watching you through a one-way mirror as you practice your skills. At this point, you are required to provide or purchase professional liability insurance, and that is because not only are we a litigious society, but you are also providing services to the public, and you run the risk of being sued. Malpractice, malfeasance, incorrect breach of confidentiality, you just wait. Now, the thing about the networker, the California networkers, you get to read, it's like the Inquirer, you get to read about everybody who's actually being sued in the state of California. That's a lot of marriage family therapist. So that's a good night read. Okay. Okay, and then once you have successfully passed practicum, you move out of the one-way laboratory setting room and mirror, and now you are placed out in the community, okay? You make a commitment to once a year, or for that 1 year, you'll be in a setting. You will stay there unless there's any kind of extenuating circumstances, which we'll learn more about when you come in the program that applies to you. But essentially, you will be earning 600 hours that you will complete. 300 fall semester, 300 spring semester. Okay, and then we have specific criteria. 240 hours are direct service with clients. Okay, you have 1 hour of weekly individual visual supervision by a licensed or credentialed on-site supervisor. You will also have 2 hours of weekly group supervision with the faculty supervisor on campus. And then there are evaluations, midpoint and end evaluations that happen. Then it's graduation. Boom, it's already happened. Between 2013 and 2014, 57 MFT students graduated. At that point, after you've passed the big exam that comes at culminating experience, we're now closer and closer. Well, guess what? It takes about 90 days for your degree to be conferred. At the same time, there's also about a 90-day period in which you have to apply to the BBS. So Dr. Lyles signs off on the internship paperwork for the LPCC. I sign off for the form for marriage family intern. So following the day after graduation, right, you start downloading all of the information that you need from BBS, and you start filling that out. We will give you that in this envelope, only about a quarter of the size. Same kind of signature, you don't open it. You send it straight over to the BBS along with your entire packet. And then you get to have fun, actually while you're still in the program. I think, Tina, you see your photo up there? Tina is actually one of our school counseling students who is actively engaged in her professional development. And I have seen you, 3 or 4 times at different continuing education conferences, and you become active in your community by attending. These are some of the agencies that provide continuing education hours. If you are licensed or nationally certified, you are required to complete 100 hours of continuing education every 5 years. So you attend things like these. And they're lots of fun, very educational. Okay. So now you're out, you're working, you've got your degree. This is the median income for 2013. There were 166,000 jobs for LMFTs throughout the nation last year. Of course, it requires a master's degree, followed by your 3,000 hours of clinical supervised time, as well as then passing yet another state exam, okay? Versus the national exam that you'll take when you're done with your program of studies. So you'll see the build-up from academia, your classes that you're taking, getting involved in your professional associations, graduating, becoming an intern as a therapist, becoming a licensed therapist, hanging a shingle out and calling yourself a licensed therapist, seeing clients, families, children, couples, individuals. Okay? Okay, go ahead and turn it over to school. How's that?
So Dr. Brenda and I will both talk about school counseling. Something to note is that the practicum and field experiences that were being discussed about MFT, career school and book rehab also have actually all those same experiences as well. So Dr. Brenda will talk to you specifically about what school counseling is like, and then I'm going to add a little spiel of why school counseling.
So school counseling, obviously, you're looking at in public schools. We do have many of our graduates who are working charter schools. Even had a student most recently hired on to do online for an online school. So there's a wide range of situations, but I think when you're looking at school counseling, you do get the opportunity in terms of the field placements that Dr. Wyckoff was talking about for MFT. We also provide field placement opportunities. We require 2 different settings, so it could be elementary school, high school, junior high, a combination to give you a sense of working with a wide range and understanding also developmental stages in which children are. I know for myself, when I was working in the child abuse field, it was mostly with younger children. My first school counseling job was with junior high. I did that for 4 years, earned my stripes, and then went on to high school. And I always was left with anybody who works with junior high walks on water, as far as I'm concerned. And yet, so I've had colleagues out there who've been working junior high or would only work junior high because they love that population. So all of us have our strengths and areas that we're like, oh boy, I can't touch that particular age group for whatever reason. With that, it's the whole idea of understanding for us is teaching for what's called the ASCA model, and that's American School Counseling Association, in which we're looking to be much more proactive in the field, looking at a very holistic approach. What I hear from oftentimes our students will say, well, I never knew my school counselor. I didn't even know we had a school counselor. Or the school counselor only taught to certain kids, and I wasn't one of them. Or certain groups of kids who are never even know that there's a counselor available to them. So there's ways to approach school counseling, even with some of the high ratios that we work with in schools. So we talk about developmental counseling. We talk about leadership in the field, and how we address the domains of social, emotional, career, and academics within our work, and how to do it systemically is what we try to instill with our students, so that when they go out there into the field, that they don't become what it is that we're trying to change. And it's really easy to become that. So that whole idea of providing opportunities to develop models within the curriculum of what an optimal school counseling program would look like, developing guidance units so that students are prepared to walk into a classroom and to talk about suicide, or to walk into a classroom and to talk about holistic living, so that you're taking care of yourself in a holistic way. So these are the things that we train our students, and getting a lot of that experience not only in the classroom but also out in the field as well. What I know employers love about our graduates is that because we have practicum, which are done in school settings, and because our field study, which Dr. Wyckoff mentioned, is 600 hours, it's all out there in the field. So by the time our graduates are out there and they have a child abuse report on their first day after they've signed a contract, they're like, no big deal. I've done this before. In fact, I just have a student in my seminar tonight. Oh yeah, I got to do your child abuse report. And she was really happy because, not just for the child's sake, but she got the experience. And it's a whole thing about developing, I talk about confidence and confidence when she had that confidence. So we're not caught like deer in the headlights when an experience comes up, and knowing the difference between self-injury and suicide, and how you address that. Being able to talk to teachers, being able to talk to parents in settings in which you're educating them, because they're trained to do what they do and to do that well. And that might be being good at science or math or social studies, but they may not know how to deal with an active shooter on campus. Okay, so what are the things that we do as counselors to prepare people for these sort of situations, and to be trained with a sort of skill development that you can impart that with others as well. So that's sort of holistically, I just given you a nutshell. And I apologize, I'm in the middle of a kitty rescue in the expedition here. I have to get this kitty back to Amador County. Is anybody want a kitty? I've got a litter box and food and everything outside, yeah. But in essence, that's when we talk about school counseling. And obviously, you've got to be high energy, willing to work with a wide range of people, willing to be flexible, very, very flexible as school counselors. And you got to like people. And you got to like everybody. You know,
Particularly kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be willing to work with administrators and teachers who, many of them, they're under the gun in many different ways. And it's hard for them too. Many of them, they go into their field. I've never heard a teacher, and I know many of my best friends are teachers, and none of them ever go and say, I want to ruin kids' lives. Their expectations and then what they're asked to do, they're stressed out. So school counselors, what we do to even support them so they can be the best teachers and administrators that they can be to serve the kids. So it's really looking at the whole system of what we do to make it better outcomes for the kids whose lives we're trying to reach. And if you want to speak about your department.
And I do think it's really important what Dr. Bird has been saying is school counselors, you're mental health practitioners in a school. It's really important that you realize a school counselor does not just register students in classes. If that's what you think school counseling is, you want to go and shadow a school counselor and see what their day-to-day life really is. Because as Dr. Bruce said, you will be the only person in that school trained for what crisis situations such as suicide, child abuse, and many other kinds of things. So it's important that you realize that you're not going to be just, oh, what kind of classes do you want to take? But really, you're doing a lot of personal counseling to help students be ready to learn. Because when people are struggling with classes and getting a failing grade in math, it's not necessarily because they hate math. It's probably because there's something else that's going on for them. And that's what we do as school counselors. So I know that many of people, they struggle sometimes between deciding marriage and family therapy or school counseling. So I definitely love marriage and family therapy. If that is what you want to do, excellent. But if you're struggling with that decision, and only if you're struggling with that decision, here's something to consider. If you have an inkling, even the slightest inkling that you think you might want to work in schools with kids, here's why you would choose the school counseling route. Because not only does the school counseling route give you that PPS credential to be a school counselor, it also still qualifies you also for what we were talking about before, the LPCC. And the LPCC can do everything an MFT can do. There is a scope of practice requirement for LPCCs to have 6 units of marriage and family therapy if they want to see couples and families. And those 6 units are actually already integrated into your school counseling program. So if you graduated from our program as a school counseling specialization, you would not only have that PPS credential, but you would also be able to be an LPCC and have your private practice or work in any of those agencies that Dr. Wyckoff was talking about. But that's only if you think you really do want to work in a school setting. If you're saying, no, I definitely, I'm not really into the whole little kid thing, I'm not really, no offense, little kids. Or I'm not into the whole academic piece at all, because we do have that academic piece as a school counselor, then do the marriage and family therapy. But if you're someone that says, well, I mean, I'm kind of torn. I mean, I really like kids, really like adolescents, kind of want to work with that. I might want to work in a school. I'm not sure. Do the school counseling, because you'll be able to get that LPCC, which lets you do everything an MFT can do. The other option with that is you can, as an MFT, you can get your MFT degree here, and then what we do is we actually have several students who've come back. It's an extra year, and they earn their PPS credential with us as well. Only students who earn their master's degree from us are allowed to do that. No one can just earn their PPS from our program if they haven't, if you haven't done that. But note that that then means you've done a 4-year program to do both of those. Where if you do school counseling, it's still just 3 years, and you get both of those options. So hopefully that helps if you're kind of on that line of not knowing which specialization. Now, if you're also one of those people that thought you wanted to do school counseling, and then you're like, wait, mental health, I'm going to have to sit there when I'm with some kids, it's not my thing. Career counseling might actually be what you're really looking for, that academic focus kind of piece too. So kind of look at that. And so what we have now is we have 3 representatives from our Student Counseling Society. We have Brad, Cassandra, and Tina, and they're going to talk to you about what it's like to be a student, and also any questions that you might have from that. They can help you with that. Something to note is that Tina is in our school counseling program right now, and Brad and Cassandra are both in our career counseling program, and it looks like Cassandra is actually passing out some flyers for you as well.
Hey everybody, what we got?
Take a deep breath, that was a lot for you guys. But hey, that was you guys are very fortunate, because when I did this application process, we didn't get all of the information. We just got, okay, here's the application, there you go. So we didn't know what came up next, so you guys are very lucky to know just a lot of information. So basically, we're going to kind of introduce ourselves, so you guys can learn, really interested you guys are into different fields or different degrees. My name is Tina, and I'm in degrees. And I got my undergrad degree in biology. So, yeah.
I'm Brad. I'm the president of the club. So Cassandra passed those flyers out there, so if you guys want to browse through them, it just has information about our club. But yeah, I'm in cohort 3 with Tina and career specialization. I got my Bachelor of Spanish, and I initially wanted to do career counseling because I really wanted to work in a study abroad office, work at a university. I currently do work at the university for my field study. I work in the Veteran Success Center on campus as a program coordinator for a program that we recently received a grant for. And I also work with student athletes in the student athlete resource center on campus. But one thing I've learned is, first of all, who's interested in career counseling? Who's interested in MFT? Who's interested in school? Who's still...
And go rehab.
Yeah, don't.
Thank you.
Those both hands. There we go. Yeah.
I counted about 9 on the fence, because we have people that chose maybe career, MFT, maybe school, so I think that this might pull out.
Okay. Yeah, like I initially was interested in that career counseling. I thought it was something that had a lot of flexibility because I wasn't completely sure what I wanted to do. But as I've learned more about the higher educational system, community college, and the community, nonprofits, corporate world, you can definitely, through career counseling, go into the community work. That's something I'm really thinking about exploring next semester. And actually, I don't know how the cohort system is going to work out this time around, but there's wiggle room for career counselors to like do independent studies with different professors from different departments. So I was really interested in doing independent study with the RPTA department, which is the recreation part of tourism. I'm really into like outdoor stuff, so I want to combine career development with outdoor stuff. So there's lots of opportunities. You'll find all kinds of cool stuff. Just like the faculty recommended, go shadow someone or do an informational interview. Find someone that's like non-traditional too, like what your interest might be that might be unorthodox, and you might find interest in that. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
My name is Cassandra. I am cohort 4, so this is my first semester in the program. I got my degree in child development, so this is kind of the progression from that. I also minored in counseling, and I went to Sac State for my undergrad, so that prepared me more for this program also. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, we came from different backgrounds, but we're still here, and that's why, you guys took different paths that you guys came from, and you guys ended up here. So I'm really excited. You guys are going to be applying soon. So if you guys are not sure what cohorts are, you guys are potential cohort 5. So you guys will be the next one coming up. And the good thing about having a cohort is that you guys move along together. And some people kind of don't go, some people don't follow the cohort. That's special circumstances. But for the most part, you guys are going to be seeing each other throughout your whole, time here. So, you want to say anything?
Yeah, don't worry. There's a lot of people that deviate from the cohort system because life happens, right? There's a lot of people, that are in the program that we jokingly say, oh, they're like cohort 2.5 or like they're cohort, 2.75 or. So there's a lot of people that go part-time. It's fine. There's the faculty works with you. There's some flexibility. So if that's something that might discourage you for applying, just ask, talk with one of the faculty one day and voice your concerns, and they can kind of explain based on your specific situation. But there's definitely a lot of people that deviate from the full-time 3-year program and go like 4 years or take 5 years. And how long? What's the limit?
May I interject?
7?
You have 7 years in
7
which to
years,
complete your degree at Sac State.
Don't take longer than 7 years.
Actually, because he makes a good point, because there's urns. You'd have to take the class over again to update your knowledge.
Yeah,
So love school, but don't love it too much.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people in the program with full-time jobs, and the full-time jobs are very important to them, and they make that decision of, I need to work, I need income, I need to support my family, whatever it may be, so I can't go full-time. There's other people that are like single parents working full-time jobs going full-time. And although it's stressful, it's being accomplished as we speak. So there's a whole spectrum of, what do you want to do, what decisions do you want to make. how do you want to balance that, so. But it's a great program. We have this counseling society now, it's like, what, 1.5 years old? And we founded it because we wanted to kind of supplement the program and do, kind of get together outside of class. And we've been able to, hold lots of events. We have a mentorship program, so Cassandra's cohort 4 representative, and we set up a mentorship between cohort 4 and cohort 3 with all the different specializations. We've had all kinds of professional panels. We have a relationship with San Francisco State University. We have a counseling symposium every spring that we went to last semester and met a lot of other counselors from different counseling programs in the Bay Area, which is great. So we do all these great things now with this counseling society that's just added to the, to the curriculum and to the experience here, which is great. So hopefully we'll continue that.
So that's one of the benefits of having a cohort that you guys can support each other, and also for networking. But that's why I joined the Student Council Society, it's even more networking. You get a little bit more, get to know people a little bit more. And that's, and when you're out there, you'll realize that counseling is a small session. You guys will see, so eventually we will all be colleagues, and that's important to realize. So, you guys probably have more information about your application. Okay, and that's a lot that you have to do. But you know what? The application actually is written out for you. I was taking a look at my old application, and it tells you that check mark here, do this, do that. So it's all written out for you. Just make sure you read everything. And I think it's mentioned in there times that you have to apply to the department and also to the graduate studies. Right there, right there. That one was So let's talk a little bit more about the application, because you guys are probably really curious. Brad and I, it's been about 2.5 years for us, but Cassandra here just got into the program. So we can, we'll all help answer any questions you guys have about the application. But we have an expert here.
Did you want us to cover anything else before we got into Q&A type stuff? Or?
I think Q&A is great.
Yeah.
Dr. Dixon?
Lyles.
You missed your colleague.
And I didn't. Yeah, this is a great time, I think, for you to ask questions that either the Student Council Society or faculty can answer. And so we'll just kind of, whoever feels that we want to answer, we'll answer. But please use please use that. So these are students, they can really give you the extra tips of, don't do this at the interview because someone did that and I have not seen them in the program, or, stuff like that. And then also the faculty here, any questions that maybe we didn't answer yet. So that'd be great if we open it up for Q&A.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and start with you.
I was wondering, with the career counseling, is there practicum that you do for that as well?
Yes.
What is that like?
Sorry, I can tell her.
Yeah, why don't you? Because you.
So it's kind of cool. This year round, or I guess it happened last spring, we had practicum to cohort 3, and as a career person, we got to actually go up into the 4th floor of Eureka 2 and see clients, which is the Counseling and Diagnostic Center. And we also got to work with international students, and other career counseling students got to work in high schools actually. So there was lots of different options for the career people.
And for the school counselors out there that might be wondering, all the specializations do practice. I'm not quite sure about social rehab.
Yep. They do.
Okay. So, and for school specialization, we're at elementary school for practicum, and so that's really good experience. Really, really good experience.
In book rehab, sometimes they're in the clinic, sometimes they're.
Well, they will be.
You'll be in the clinic as well.
Yes, if you do voc rehab, you will absolutely have time in the clinic so we can watch you.
Saw the image,
and
she'll be on the other side.
Yeah, the first 20 times are incredibly nerve-wracking, but after that, it's okay. And we also will help you with practicum and internships in the community. And I am very happy to have you set up your own internships. I'm very happy to help you set up your internships.
And that's voc rehab. I just want to really specify that because MFT, school and career, you do not set up your own internships. But in voc rehab, it's an option for you to do that. Great. I think we saw some more, yes.
Yes, so I'm taking the minor in counseling, and I know those who fill the prerequisites. How does that work once you get into the cohorts?
You are put on like a special sort of program. So right now, I'm only taking one class with my cohort, and I'm taking 3 other classes with either cohort 3 or some of the other cohort 4 students that have also taken the prerequisites. So you go see whoever your specialization advisor is, and they'll map out a plan for you for the next 3 years.
And it's actually kind of nice because I got my minor in counseling too, and so for the 2 classes that are required for the LPCC, like it'll fit perfectly into my 3-year plan. So,
Do you have an advantage of like a semester ahead, or?
If you mean advantage is in you'll get out early, no.
And that's actually, it's true. The minimum, no matter what, is 3 years. And that's really important to remember. That's going full-time. Please note that in undergrad, full-time is 12 units. And many of you take 15, 18, whatever. If you are a graduate school student, 9 units is actually considered full-time, and we don't allow you to take more than 12. Because 12 is equivalent to that 15 or 18 units. And in a graduate program, especially counseling, we're not just talking academic rigor, we're talking emotional rigor as well. And so it's important that you recognize you're going to transform. You're going to be a slightly different person from the program that you're in, where you are right now, than when you finish this program. Because it questions your biases, your values, which you all agree on that, right? Yeah, your core personhood might stay the same, I'm not saying that. But you're going to experience differences. And that takes time. And so it's going to take that 3 years for you to really become the counselor you want to be, as opposed to some programs I've heard of, you can finish in a year and a half. And I will also tell you that, but none of them here, don't worry. But here's the other thing is, in Sacramento, in the greater region of Sacramento, our graduates are hired before any other university. We have a high standard, and the community knows that. And so if you are looking at one of those programs to just get through it, there's some consequences to that, right? And I know 3 years seems so long. They're your last year. Wouldn't you say that it's kind, well, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you. You're here though, right? Like, you're
Waiting
almost
for you to
there.
say it's not
Almost
long.
there, almost there.
It's a journey for sure.
I've definitely seen that with vocational rehabilitation. I'm trying to get to know resources. I'm not from here, so I'm calling, I'm checking places out. I am amazed at the number of rehabilitation counselors in this region that are graduates from this program. It's amazing. I say, I'm from Sac State. Oh, I graduated from that program. Oh, really? You did? Do I have you on my list? So it is. We really do populate this place with some great counselors.
And I also wanted to add what Cassandra was saying, why she applied to this program specifically.
Well, first off, it's KCREP accredited. There are only, for the career people, there are only 9 universities in the United States that are KCREP accredited. There's 3 of them in, there's 3 of them in California. San Francisco State, which you have to take the GRE. Sac State, you do not have to take the GRE. And then Fullerton. I didn't want to live in LA, I didn't want to take the GRE, and I wanted to stay in California, so this is where I am.
Yeah, 1 in 9. Did you hear that? and school counseling, by the way, we're only 1 of 4 in California. And MFT, it's pretty similar too. So KCREP is something we haven't talked much about. That is our national accrediting body, and it's a set of standards. That means that we are meeting something that the nation has decided is like a really good quality counseling program. And part of that is CORE, which is also with the vocational rehabilitation program. And there aren't a lot of schools that are able to meet that kind of accreditation, and so that is a nice benefit. And students who graduate from a KCREP accredited program are also able to work in TRICARE after graduation with licensure, either as an MFT or LPCC, as opposed to individuals who do not graduate from a KCREP program, who actually have to then get supervision from a psychologist for 3,000 hours on their own. And so there's some benefits, that's just one of them.
Yeah, I found this program on KCREF's website. You can go on, for those of you who haven't been on there yet, you go to KCREF and Google it, and then they have their tabs up top, just different institutions that have counseling programs. But I didn't even know, I'm from Michigan, I didn't even know Sac State existed until I went on the KCREF website. I was like, oh, look at Sacramento, it's like a cool place to live.
So I was thinking we could write the cake crop.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go on the website, that's why I was.
Oh, here she's just going to the website. Come on.
We're talking about technology.
So I see this is your guys' email right here. If we had like questions, like say I want to go into career counseling, could I speak specifically with like one of
Yeah.
Okay, and then you guys would just direct me to that person? Okay.
So if you guys have any like personal or more personal questions, not personal, but you know what I mean.
Questions you don't want to ask.
What should you make for dinner tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually have a question for the faculty. In terms of your letters of reference, one of my professors mailed it before I was able to figure out how the steps went, so is it easy? What happened? Was it?
Where did they mail it to?
They mailed it to the book we have, the program.
So what would probably be a good idea would be to check in with Dr. Brostrand, who can then look and see if that has been received yet. Otherwise, what I would probably recommend the most would be for you to recontact that person and ask them to send you the copy of the letter.
And I like to say, the first thing I think you should do is get your hands on the sealed copy of that letter so that you will be sure it's in your application. Then, Dr. Giener and I will try and locate whatever was sent to the university. But if you can do that first, then at least you're sure that your application will be complete.
I think that's very important to get your letters of rec because you just don't know. You're depending on somebody else to do that part for you, so get it early, you know, you need what 3 of them. So get that early, find a professor, find somebody that knows you pretty well to write good stuff about you.
How flexible is the day-to-day schedule? Are we adding mostly day classes, night classes?
It's kind of a mix there.
There's a good mix. I take all night classes because the plan was for me to work during the day. Doesn't happen, but you can set your schedule to work a complete day in the morning, or you can work at night. I mean, we have morning classes, they have night classes happen. It can be done.
If people work, have children, do their field study, I go to school full time, so.
And the way our classes are set up are, you have it once a week and it's a 3-hour class.
Yeah, add to that, please, because you mentioned evening classes. Our classes are pretty much set up Monday through Thursday, sometimes on Friday if we need to add extra sections. They begin from 9 a.m. to 11:50, 1 p.m. to 3:50, 4 p.m. to 6:50. Field study is 2 hours and may take place at any time that is following that, 4 to 5:50. And then the last class of the evening is 7 p.m. to 9:50 p.m. Okay? And that is the consistent windows of time that the classes are offered. And as was shared, your class meets 1 time a week for 2 hours, 50 minutes.
And predominantly in the 3 other programs, you're going to be needing to take some daytime classes. Vocational rehabilitation is currently still set up to mostly those 4 p.m. and those 7 p.m. classes because we have a lot of people who are working full-time. I think eventually we will probably all dovetail into the same format. Right now, Voc Rehab has a few more classes, more in the evening, but you will encounter at least 1 daytime class. So, you want to be talking with your job, if you are at your job, and make sure that you can make your schedule work with your family and your job.
Yeah, a lot of people stack classes, so you can, there's a student in the career program right now who's got class all day. 3 back-to-back 3-hour classes.
It's
exhausting. And they work full-time, so, and they have kids.
You guys see the question?
Yeah.
Do you recommend to be like working like either full-time or part-time or or not working at all, or obviously everyone like is different, so.
That's a good question.
I think you actually answered it.
I prefer not to work at all.
Because you said, I mean, I don't want to speak to you, but I just want to say, everyone is different, and you need to know yourself what you can handle. As you had said before, Brad, you know, there are students, single parent, working full-time, going to school full-time, and they are able to compartmentalize and manage that stress. There are other people who are working full-time and need to go to school part-time. There's other people who, for some odd reason, decide to get pregnant during the time that they're in graduate school.
Or married.
Or married. I know. Someone just got married last weekend. Has anyone been to this?
No, it's this week because he was in class last night.
I was going to say someone else got married. Someone else got married last weekend.
Okay, you guys choose.
It's okay. It's okay if you want to.
Life happens.
Life happens, that's right.
And it's important, life doesn't stop just because you enter grad school. You may wish it doesn't, but it doesn't. And so that's fine, but what you need to do is realize what's best for you, and you might need to test it out. Your first semester, you might go full-time and realize, nope, not going to work. Or you might be going along full-time, oh, got engaged, okay, plan a wedding, now I need to, do half-time, or, oh, got pregnant, yay for that, and, decided to go full-time. And that's something that you would work with your advisor on then. Okay, you can move from part-time to full-time to part-time if needed. So go ahead and, yes, I'm so glad you said it's okay.
So yeah, for me, well, first of all, I think all of us can contest, or at least Tina and I can contest as faculty, but the program gets increasingly more involved. So for me, I was doing like retail work when I first started the program, and I was doing volunteering and stuff. But I found it very valuable to do volunteering because you're gaining exposure to different populations, you're getting contact with people. So I was working part-time, but also fitting in the community work too, because I wanted to gain that experience. And then also, KGREP is very, I don't want to call it conservative, but they want to ensure that the student is very prepared when they start working with people, so you don't really get to do hands-on stuff so soon into the program. So I found that it was really helpful for me to do a lot of community work along with working part-time. I mean, my situation allowed me to do that, so everyone has different situations, but it's I think my experience is where I was getting eager. I wanted to have direct contact with people, I wanted to be in the helping field, and so that was my way of doing that. And then working part-time in retail, and then I kind of slowly transitioned into working full-time with in the career counseling realm.
And he did get married in the middle of the program, so.
Yeah, we do have some of our colleagues that have kids, and they're doing it, so.
I have a question back to the prerequisites. Is it worthwhile at all to take, say, one of those classes at ARC before?
We do not accept them from any other program but the ones here at Sac State. Okay. And so if you were to take them here, they'd be accepted. If you were to take them anywhere else, they would not be. And something to note on that is that there might be changes with those prerequisites too. And so if you're earning your minor or if you've taken them, that's great. Make sure you put that on your application because it will be useful information. If you haven't taken them yet, I wouldn't necessarily stress about that. I mean, it is part of the cohort secret, so it's okay to do that.
I thought you could take abnormal psychology or child and family psychopathology or others.
May I speak to that for the MFT program?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Lyles. Okay, if you are going the MFT route, if you have taken a 168 abnormal psychology that covers the DSM-5 and you are in a grade of B or better, you can have that transferred to Sac State. Okay? However, what you are missing, okay, think of how large that DSM-5 is. It is wonderful to get that class exclusively on children if you plan to work with children. Okay, so it can really be of benefit because it's solely focused on children and families, risk and protective factors. Then you get to really relax and enjoy all of the diagnosis in 231. So I'll say that. Did you want to speak to?
And vocational rehabilitation, we're still a little bit, I must admit, about the prerequisites. So the faculty is considering these prerequisites. We are trying to do what is best for you, the students. And so we're still in a little bit of a gray area on those. And as Dr. Lyle said, don't stress about it right this minute.
Yeah.
In career, in school, you may not substitute any of the prereqs at this. I'm looking at the time, and I think we will go for about 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then if you have additional questions, our email addresses are here, as well as Student Counseling Society.
I was curious, with the Masters in the MFT program, can that be used later on if you would like to go on to like a PhD program in psychology?
Any of our programs are going to do that. And let me tell you that if you are coming from a KCREP master's program, you are welcomed with bigger open arms. You are also allowed to transfer slightly more of your units into your doctoral program. My PhD program was 120 units, okay? And because I came from a KCREP master's program, I was allowed to, I think they allowed me about 40 to 45 of those units into, because it was KCREP. If you are not coming from KCREP, but you'll start from scratch.
And let me follow that up with, if you happen to look closely at voc rehab at this moment, we are not KCREP. However, I will be doing a lot of work and travel and paperwork and then and my goal is by next school year, we will be core KCREP. So coming out of voc rehab, I'm trying to step up with the big boys and girls over here. And so hopefully we will all be one general program by next year.
And something to note too is what Dr. Wyckoff said. We've actually had many of our students go on to successfully enter into and finish and complete doctoral programs, including some of our adjunct faculty right now are actually finishing up their doctoral programs. So really any of these fields that you choose can lead you into a PhD. And we do have a doctoral program here on campus, the EDD in doctoral in educational leadership. And some of our students pursue that one, but there's many avenues.
I'm hearing the various degrees, undergrads that you guys have, and curious to know if I'm applying for career counseling, will that benefit me? I mean, because I didn't take any minor in psychology. Will that hurt me, or would that?
No, that's part of something that I think is really unique about our program is we really value your personal experience. Yeah. And so, I mean, I had a career student who was in engineering. He'd been an engineer for years and years and decided he wanted to do counseling. So we heard biology, Spanish.
MBA in Columbia.
Yeah, exactly. So really, it's not about the degree. It's about the other experiences you've had. So we're looking for, do you have paid or volunteer work that deals with people? You know, do you show that you do like people? Do you like kids? Do you know what you're getting into? That's more important than the degree you earn. And so it definitely won't hurt you. It might not necessarily give you an edge that you have something different, but it's certainly not going to hurt you.
As far as the letters of recommendation, is it value more if it comes from someone in the field? Does it have to pertain to that? Like I'm an MFT, does it have to pertain to that?
I would say no.
I would say no. No, absolutely not. What Dr. Lyles said is absolutely on target. Part of what you want is someone who can speak to the qualities that you would bring to a graduate program in terms of academic potential and ability, as well as the goodness of fit, okay? And can speak maybe on how they know you in terms of the volunteer work, assistant work, or being actively involved with a professor with research or active participant in class. Okay, I would say that some of the letters that probably are not as strong is from an ex-spouse.
Even if they have a different last name.
And I'm not talking from her, okay, probably like an ex-spouse. Your preschool teacher that you saw 40 years before. Okay, so, you know, good common sense, somebody that can really speak to potential and ability. goodness of fit and how they see you productively being rewarded in the program and what you're going to give back to the program and to the community.
And I can see, I appreciate Brad's comment about volunteering.
Oh,
I can see if you are coming from a completely unrelated field. I mean, other than my one employer who thinks I should only be taking in business majors because they know how to use spreadsheets. But if you are coming from a completely different field, you probably want to have a letter from somebody who can talk about why you'd be good in this field. So if you can do some volunteering, what I keep saying is, this is graduate school. Go do a little bit of volunteering, not only for yourself to see is this a good fit for me, but you could get that letter from that person. I mean, if you're volunteering, they love you, right? They're using you, they're watching you, they love you, they're gonna write you a letter.
It's a mutual altruism.
Right.
And if you don't have time for, volunteering, then shadow. You go out and shadow people.
And the informational interview, like Brad said as well.
Yes.
I have a question right along with the recommendation. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. So could I do homeschooling? Could I ask my teacher who I work with? Was that
Oh, that would be, yeah, absolutely, that would be, yeah.
Okay.
Just don't ask your students.
And not black crayon, we might have to see it as a projected and stuff.
One more question, I think. Okay.
What made you guys decide on these three students?
They were so exceptional that they said, not only can I manage my midterms right now, but I want to make sure that we present this program in a good light and want to help. So that part of it was their availability. But also, I will say, these three students are an excellent representation of what we're looking for. And all three of them successfully, obviously, passed through the application process. And not only that, they showed an initiative to say, hey, we want more than just academics. We want a counseling society where we can network, where we can have professional and personal opportunities. They have fun together, too. They realize self-care is part of this. So for me, I did ask them to come, hoping whoever part of the organization would come, and I was so excited to have these three because they are saying, yeah, I'm here in graduate school, and I really want this experience, these 3 years, to be a meaningful journey for them. So that's why I didn't necessarily say, okay, I only want you three, but more just, they happen to be the best three probably to at the time. So
thank you.
I love our students. If you couldn't tell from that is my favorite part about being part of this program is our students. And it excites us. I think it's what gets us so energized, even when it's almost 9 and we've been here since 8. We're like, yeah, because we love students. And hopefully you'll feel the same way about your faculty and each other. I like when you were saying these are your colleagues. Yeah, look around. This will be your cohort, or at least half of them.
You gotta end on some humor. My guess is these are the ones that are, you guys are probably the ones that will be accepted. I mean, if we're getting 200 applications, obviously there are a lot of people not in this room who are applying.
And you've shown initiative to come tonight after you've been working since 8
To show up.
And we really appreciate it.
We also do. So thank you so much for coming. And again, if you have